This episode of Important If True is brought to you by Quip, convenient electric toothbrushes that are sent to your home with brush head refills every 3 months. If you go to tryquip.com/thumbs, you can get $10 off your first brush head refill.
Oh, man. Oh, yeah.
You sound excited, Nick.
I am. So excited.
It's June 1st, 2017.
And this is Important If True.
For Idle Thumbs, I'm Chris Remo.
I'm Nick Brecken.
And I'm Jake Rodkin.
Good.
That's how I sound when I'm excited.
Wow.
My body is involuntarily expunging its excitement.
I'm a 90s kid, you know.
Only 90s kids will know to go,
oh, it's so gross. I love it. Oh, exploded everywhere. Guts and stuff.
Is that what 90s?
Slime.
Is that what 90s kids
I love
love?
slime.
I think it is. I think 90s kids love slime.
That's true.
I mean, someone definitely thought they did. Someone thought they did and then decided that they did.
Yeah.
And ensured that they would by putting it on all television programs.
Yeah,
This week on Important If True, what is the real secret of the ooze?
I thought you were going to say, what's the real so 90s? It's. I guess it is. The 90s is the secret of the ooze.
Yeah.
The secret of the ooze is the answer to what is so 90s.
What's the real so 90s is like an episode title of some anime.
Yeah.
What?
No, I follow Jake.
That's real so 90s.
Yeah.
I was about to start talking about the real Ghostbusters, but it's good that we're doing the real podcast now and not whatever that was where we were entertaining.
Because it was an anime.
The Ghostbusters?
Yeah.
I guess technically it was.
It was animated in Japan. I looked this up recently. I think I watched 5 minutes of that show. And then
Really?
I was with Janella and I was like she was like studying the animation style and I was like, this actually kind of seems Japanese to me. And I looked it up and I was like, oh yeah, it totally
Man,
is.
the real
They
Ghostbusters
outsourced-
secret anime.
Yeah. It makes sense though because Egon is just this like outrageous, like his hair is out here and it's bonkers.
The original-
the animation's really good. That's why I knew.
Yeah.
I was like, wait a minute, this
couldn't
is
be American.
fantastically animated. There's no way this is 80s American animation like on television. This is like way better. And I can't remember what the house that did it had also made, but I was like, oh yeah.
Have you then gone and looked for like the original Japanese edits of the real Ghostbusters before it got toned down
man.
for America? You
Oh
know,
my
like
God.
when they're like they're doing you see things.
Yeah.
There's things depicted on screen that are not. They sort of turn into a shimmering effect in America.
Is that true, or are you just...
Oh yeah, they all get super nude when they put on their ghost.
Then they get slimed.
Yeah, then they get they get nude
Right,
and then they get
but
slimed.
there's a weird like connotation in that version.
Activate
Right.
secret of the 90s.
They're like, activate the real Ghostbusters. And then like, yeah.
Right.
God, that...
Oh, actually, it was called Ghostbusters Busted Makes Me Feel Good.
Oh, right.
But like, in Japanese.
Man, you could do a total like anime opening titles music treatment of the Ghostbusters music, probably. It would just need a section where in the middle it just goes into like a really dreamy violin section and then comes back bigger and badder than ever with a big drum
You're right.
drum beat.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I wish we weren't doing about 7,000 podcasts a week right now, or I would somehow try to challenge you to at least do a little bit of that because it would be the most, it would be what the world needs. Instead, we'll do 16 more episodes of Twin Peaks Rewatch. Good episode.
We have a business and marketing opportunity that we got.
Oh, we have a BMO?
To the inbox. Yep. Uh-huh. This is from Domain Sales with a Z. And it says, "Greeting, we are brokerage team managing new GTLD domains. This list was recently put on sale by only $410. Visit them directly and get instantly. Personal.gallery, popular.services, fantastic.website.
Oh, fuck.
And open.credit. Send us an email on domainsales@gmail.com if you want to negotiate it." So,
Did you send them an email yet?
well, I wanted to consult with you guys first.
Oh, I see.
Which one should we ask them about?
I mean, I think
They're all good.
they're all pretty good. Well, I think popular.services and fantastic.website
Fantastic.website.
are both reflective of our
Yeah.
brand and our products.
owning popular.services would be very good.
Yeah.
Owning popular.website, which they do not offer, would also be very good. Visit my popular website. popular.website. Yeah.
I mean, we provide popular services.
We do, but you won't find us at popular.services.
Fantastic.website.
A world where that stuff becomes ubiquitous enough that you could have an advertisement like that will never happen, I guess, because website domains are so idiotic at this point. You know, the like, but you won't find us at like it's like,
I see what you're
or
saying.
will you, because it can just be anything. You'll find us at AOL keyword popular services.
There's a store near where Nick, where you and I used to live, like a market called Popular Market.
Oh,
and
yeah.
It's been closed. It was closed the entire time we lived there.
Right.
And I always thought it was amazing that they just called it Popular Market and then went out of business.
It was an aspirational name.
Yeah, they were trying.
If only they had opened that business in the era of websites like popular.market.
Yeah.
And they could have driven all that traffic.
Right.
Why would I get any of those websites when I could get popular.expert for $40 right now?
Really?
Yes.
Wow. Man, we're in a golden age of...
I was looking to see if Popular Market was available. It's not, but I could get Popular Pizza and further drive the Popular Market out of business.
Popular Market isn't available because the store that we walked by was actually the brick and mortar opening of Popular Market, the website that just failed.
it all failed? Oh, so this was their, like, we're going to beat Amazon. We're going to beat Amazon at their own game, and we're going to register a popular website called popular.website and popular.market. Then we're going to own and open a Popular Market, unfortunately.
Right.
They decided what to put in the Popular Market brick and mortar based on what was highly reviewed at popular.market, the website, but nobody went to that.
The answer was, shit, nothing. And...
yeah.
They pivoted to unpopular.market and then went out of business.
The idea of a business model that backwards is not unbelievable to me.
No, it's really
like,
not.
No.
We're only going to put things in this store that people on our website love. The social engagement that we drive through our website will determine what goes into our store. Store remains empty and closes. The Amazon bookstore, they behind the cash registers have quotes from books, but they say like 3,900 Goodreads readers highlighted this quote, and there's a quote. So in the empty popular.market, which just has, they haven't even put the shelves in yet because no one has liked any fixtures or anything, but there's just one thing behind where the cash register will go that says, "My husband makes $99 an hour working from home." And then just has a bunch of just like ASCII characters and like a bit.ly link because that's the only content that's been posted to their website, and they're obligated to put it up. They're like, fuck, why did we integrate discuss comments on our website?
God, I was listening to a UK politics podcast recently, and I feel like this reminds me of this for some reason. I felt like I was getting intensely trolled and I couldn't fucking figure it out. UK politics, like I'm stressing, it is like specific to that country. Mm-hmm. And they had a pre-roll ad, a mid-roll ad, and a post-roll ad. And the ad, all three of them, was like, "Come on down to the lumber wholesale, discount lumber wholesale, get all your lumber." And it was an American accent. It was an American person, and there was no website that they gave. It felt like I was listening to a local ad on like local radio.
Was there a telephone number or like anything?
I don't think so.
Huh.
Yeah, it was. I actually thought I was going crazy because I pressed play on the podcast.
Is it an ad for a British service?
Well, it was an American man speaking. I mean, maybe, but it I don't know. I mean, it could have been. As an American listening to it, it was really confusing. Maybe if I was British, I would be like, "Oh, right, that's the classic like British lumber place with the American spokesman."
Right.
But I was listening to it and I pressed play on this politics podcast and a guy just starts yelling at me about a lumber warehouse and I thought it was the wrong file.
It's. I mean, if you go to Japan and you see Tommy Lee Jones selling you coffee, and you're like, you don't go, "Why isn't that a Japanese man?" But as an American, you're like, "Wow, that's Tommy Lee Jones. This is ridiculous." I feel like you're having the same experience, but with an anonymous lumberman. Did you have anything else to say about that? If not, I wanted to share a Tommy Lee Jones fact with you.
No.
Okay.
If you're British and you are aware of like Discount Lumber Wholesale as a British institution? Please let me know. Questions at importantoftrue.com.
What is it that Tommy Lee Jones sells in Japan?
Boss Coffee.
That's right, Boss Coffee. I was reminded of this. Well, I was reminded because you were talking about the American Lumber thing, but also when Nick was talking about Batman Forever, watching a couple episodes ago, we were talking about when you watch those clips of Batman Forever that are like pristine HD and 60 frames a second, and it's just Tommy Lee Jones and Jim Carrey looking like the biggest goobers in the entire world.
So bad.
Do you know the story that Jim Carrey told about meeting Tommy Lee Jones and about like apparently Tommy Lee Jones?
I know the story.
Hates Jim Carrey like with a
Really?
passion that is.
Yeah.
Like before they met, he already just hated him.
Yes.
On principle.
Yes, literally, he literally did
good.
hate him on principle. When the second Dumb and Dumber movie was coming out, Jim Carrey went on Howard Stern, and he said, "I was really looking forward to working with Tommy because he was a fantastic actor and still is. I love him. I mean, he's amazing, but he was a little crusty." Jim Carrey thinks that Tommy Lee Jones originally became agitated about him because Dumb and Dumber came out at the same weekend as a movie named Cobb, which was like a dramatic big performance that he was really into.
Tommy Lee Jones?
Yeah, Tommy Lee Jones was into, and then that.
Wait, what do you mean was into?
Or he was like he had ambitions for it, is what Jim Carrey thinks, and then it just got crushed by the stupidest movie ever. So Jim Carrey says, "I walked into a restaurant the night before our big scene in the Riddler's lair, and the maitre d' said, 'Oh, you're working with Tommy Lee Jones, aren't you?' And I said, 'I am.' And he said, 'Oh, he's in the back corner.' Jim Carrey said, 'Oh, great, I'll go say hello.' And I went up to him to say hi, and the blood drained from his face in such a way that I realized that I had become the face of his pain. He got up kind of shaking, hugged me, and said, 'I hate you. I really don't like you.' And I was like, wow, okay, what's going on? And he said, 'I cannot sanction your buffoonery.'"
Oh, God, that quote is so good.
He did not want to work with me at that point, and I said, "Well, I think this part requires, the tone of this thing's kind of childlike, and you might be having some trouble there. So I wish you the best." But yeah, I hate you.
I cannot
sanction your buffoonery.
Yeah.
Is what Tommy Lee Jones says while hugging Jim Carrey in a restaurant the day before their big scene together, which we just watched a couple days ago in horrendous 60 FPS.
Man, I can't sanction Tommy Lee Jones' buffoonery in that scene either.
I know. Tommy Lee Jones is a fucking goofball. He's just like a mush-faced
He was trying to capture that space. Like, this is what people love. People love this buffoonery.
In HD 60 FPS, you can see the tears welling up in his eyes when he knows that he's made a mistake.
His life. This is what he's been
reduced to. With Jim Carrey going, "Time's wasting, Batman," or whatever the fuck he's saying. Anyway, I cannot sanction your buffoonery.
That's incredible. God,
anyway, see you on set tomorrow when we're dressed as these neon cartoons.
Incredible. Yeah. Like, you want that to just follow up with like sleep as he pulls the plunger, like he pushes the hypodermic needle into his neck. I hate you. What the hell?
He's then the needle that he's pushing in is like somehow it will like let him transfer himself into Jim Carrey's identity. Like, I hate you and resent your success. I cannot sanction your buffoonery. Therefore, like a body swap occurs.
There's a fucking Freaky Friday that occurred on the set of Batman Forever, whichever one that was.
It was forever.
It really was. If imagine meeting. I mean, I don't know if I were me. If I met Tommy Lee Jones for the first time and he gave me a hug and said, "I hate you." I hope he does that to everybody, just to like maintain dominance. So they're always like, everyone he deals with is on the back foot.
Yeah, the way Tommy Lee Jones sees the world is very, very black and white and very sort of classic, just brutal masculine dominance. And he has to assert at all times.
Mm-hmm. Jesus.
Tommy Lee Jones can't sanction anyone's buffoonery but his own.
Jake, I think you have some robot news.
I feel like
for the first time in like months. I feel like
it's been a while since we allowed robots onto this program. So this one,
we're trying to keep them at arm's length. We hate them.
This robot, in fact, funny you should say that we're trying to keep robots at arm's length, because this robot is in fact designed to stay at arm's length at all times.
Really? For real?
Yes. I was reading about this robot named Gita.
Mm-hmm.
How do
you spell that?
Gita.
Okay.
Gita was created by the company that created the Vespa scooter, Piaggio. They said that they've been looking at the evolution of autonomous transport and all sorts of just, the way that things move around is changing very aggressively, and they felt like they were maybe being left behind. And their solution is the most cute and Vespa-esque thing in the world. They made a robot called Gita that is not an autonomous vehicle per se. It's not a thing you drive around on or in or anything. It's actually just a pod that's like the size of, I don't even know. It's like the size of just like a cushion that you would sit down on that rolls around with the bicycle wheel on either side. Like it just looks like a giant like biscuit turned
like
on
an
its
orb,
side.
right? It's like a sphere.
It's more cylindrical, but yeah, it's basically an orb with two bicycle wheels that rolls around and it follows its owner obediently at all times. It's a cute.
How does it have like?
You have to wear a belt. You have to wear like a weird white belt that transmits a signal, and it just follows you around. They said maybe it's maybe it'll help old people, or maybe they could open up like
Help them do what?
Like the old people, like a cart that you carry around. Instead, like a little robot will follow you around. You know,
it's like a BB-8.
It's like a BB-8. It is like a little BB-8, but it's colored and styled like a Vespa scooter. The thing about it that was funny to me was that all of the it's just a container. Like it stays upright. The wheels roll around, but it sort of gyroscopically makes sure that it stays upright. It's not like BB-8 in that it's just tumbling around, barfing itself to death. Yeah. And it always has a little hatch on the top, so you can just fill it with whatever you want. And they postulated, like groceries or groceries. They don't have a lot of ideas for other than groceries, but their photos of it. Since it is just kind of
like an autonomous grocery cart.
Yes, basically it is. It's like a roller bag that rolls on its own and follows you and looks cute, and it's called Gita. But all the photos of it just look, because it's stuffed with just sort of consumer product supermarket stuff, looks like it's full of garbage. It just looks like you can just have a robot
that
follows you around that you can just stuff full of all of your shit when you don't want it. And I laughed at that and went, oh, that's, good, great. Let's just buy an expensive piece of garbage that follows my smartphone around that I fill with garbage. There's a good portion of society that probably at this point genuinely needs a trash can to follow them around. I am included in that. I'm not knocking.
You walk around shedding garbage.
Yeah, I mean, I think that we as a species walk around shedding garbage.
That's actually true.
Like, we can't eat food without having to then put a piece of shit on the ground, literally. So, and that applies to I mean, wow.
Literally.
Yes.
I need this badly. I can't eat food without having to immediately shit. And what
I'm gonna shit in this robot
on the ground. But now I can shit in my robot trash can that follows me around. Thanks, Italy.
Thanks, Piaggio Group.
Well, the worst part about this is that you're going to put all this garbage in this little robot, like BB-8 friend, and then you go home and just, pick it up and just dump it into the trash? Just shake it by its face?
Please stop.
Yeah.
Please stop.
I need this. It fuels me. It's my food.
Well, the real reality of it is
shit in my mouth.
Ignoring the fact that if a quarter of the people in a city the size of San Francisco had these fucking garbage robots following them around, it would be a disaster.
Well,
but even if that many people had little trash cans following them around, the other 75% of the city who couldn't open them because they didn't have access would just wedge stuff into the wheel wells and stuff it into the handle. They're like, my gum, I don't have a place.
Stop stuffing your crap in my robot.
Yeah, this is for my garbage.
I like the idea that the designers who made this imagined it being this adorable, cute little grocery tote, but all everyone actually uses it for is just stuffing crap into it.
Right, we're like, I could walk, somewhere for lunch and just eat my gross sandwich on the way back to work, and I don't even need to it'll just be used to disrupt the infrequency of public trash cans, which is the most depressing thought that I've ever had. But it's true. I mean, I don't know. Or people will actually use it for nice things. Like they said that the thing that they thought would be the most interesting for it would be if they were things you could just check out when you need them. Like if you basically just need a thing to just carry stuff halfway across the city near you. It's interesting, but really it's just going to be trash cans that people then put trash on and in and around.
There are going to be so many of these that just get lost, like grocery carts. They're just sadly sitting on the side of the road.
How heavy are these things?
I don't know.
They gotta be pretty beefy, right? I mean,
could you just run by and swipe someone's if you think there's valuables in it?
That's what I was thinking.
They're like the size of half a person, but
but it's like plastic probably, right?
Yeah, it's got guts. It's got a motor in it and stuff. Maybe, then we'll have to just invent defensive accessories.
Could you have an app that intercepts other people's trash robot signal. And
Oh, they're gonna
did
get
you become
hacked.
like the Pied Piper? And
Oh,
you're
yeah.
walking along the street with a fleet
yeah.
of these fucking things.
God,
calling
if you just the person walking
a
down the street,
mother duck and
and they
her
all
ducklings.
just peel off from other people. Like, where are you going? Come back, trash.
God, that would be an amazing music video if you could do that for real.
Oh my
Like
God.
in the actual real world, film this as
Mm-hmm.
your music video where you're walking through San Francisco, just like come to me, my babies, as everyone's just weird trash robot balls are just peeling off and following you as you walk down the street.
And then off a pier, and they all follow you into the ocean. And
But then you think it's over. No, then a raft of them rises back up after like a sort of pregnant pause, and then just that person is just buoyed
Carries you
away
off.
into the distance.
Yeah.
Off into the ocean.
Yeah,
Off
into the sea.
Off into the trash that's floating around in the ocean. That big trash
And
pile.
then they start eating all of the trash.
Right, yeah.
And
Yeah.
then sink. Their job
Right.
fulfilled.
Right. Smiling
Ugh,
somehow.
somehow.
Man, so you guys have been up on the recent Twin Peaks new episodes, sounds like.
Living in San Francisco and seeing the amount of just weird techno trash that exists in the city,
Yeah.
I do think often how shockingly gross but possible it would be to orchestrate all of them into like top-down like big swimming number style musical number sequences. The amount of like inhuman but basically classic Hollywood musical imagery you
Right.
could get with all of the stupid self-driving cars and pizza robots and little
Yeah.
garbage pods.
I forgot about this. This was a recent news story. There are actually weird autonomous little delivery robots
Yep.
that
Yeah.
are roaming San Francisco.
Yeah, the pizza bots.
Yeah, no. So your music video becomes increasingly valid when this person not only starts taking people's like little roving handbags, but also everyone's food orders. I mean, that music video or musical number wouldn't just be the little roving pods. It would basically be a creepy, like 4,000 quadcopters, like also 3 or 4 like self-driving Google Maps cars following this person, like just marching. But yeah, marching into the sea.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
Because they had a really strong RFID chip.
Do you guys remember the Sony television ad that they filmed in San
The
Francisco
Bravia?
with the
Yeah.
bouncing
With the
balls?
The rubber balls?
Yeah.
Did you ever see the behind the scenes video?
No,
of
that was where like one of the huge San Francisco steep streets.
Lombard, yeah.
Yeah, they just poured thousands
They just
of
took
rubber
a dump
bounce
truck
balls.
Yeah.
and just
Yep.
launched like a
They just
like
did it.
like a billion. Yeah, the behind the scenes video of that music video is hilarious because like I guess they just didn't take into account the fact that you launch a bouncy ball off a huge like essentially like a cliff and it's gonna do some damage. Like there were bouncing balls that shattered like house windows and just like destroyed cars and like there was just carnage.
It was a disaster.
It was a complete disaster.
And they didn't fucking like fix it or pay for anything.
No, they just yeah.
If this wasn't okay, imagine this way. Because this is actually true. Like, imagine there wasn't a commercial associated with it. There was, but let's just say you're like that doesn't really. That's sort of irrelevant.
Let's say you're
to the
a
actual,
merry prankster.
Well, no, it doesn't matter. I'm saying like let's imagine the actual thing that happened really happened, which is like a big company came in with a huge
Right.
truck, fucking
dumped
opened the
some
back of
fucking
it,
shit.
dumped millions of bouncy balls off a street, broke fucking car windows, set off car alarms, broke people's house windows, and then just packed up and left. That's actually
what I want-
happened one day in
Yeah.
San Francisco.
Yeah.
And
What I
then
want
just
is
said,
the folk,
anyway, bye.
Yeah, I want the
See ya.
folk music that's behind the actual video set to that, and just like fucking like carnage and
Oh, yeah, no, that's-
car alarms and
What if they had
Yeah.
released the second commercial? Yeah, that was
Right,
the
yeah.
slow camera pans past the bounce balls, just like
yeah.
pouring into a car window and destroying
Yeah,
it, or like
yeah.
Yeah.
slow motion beautifully smashing a window or denting the hood of something and knocking over someone's fence.
Yeah.
And then the final image is a Sony TV in one of those living rooms as 300 bounce balls just destroy it and push it off the
Yeah.
shelf out the
That's
window.
just
Right.
like an ad for any tech company, and then
Yeah.
at the end it
Yeah.
just says disruption.
Right, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. And then you set it to the audio of the Blade Runner 2049 trailer.
Oh man, you should explain what you're referencing.
Someone took a commercial for the most recent like Google Voice Assistant AI. You know, it's one of those Amazon Alexa type things, the little
Google
pod,
Home.
the little pod you can put in your house. And without doing any editing changes, they put the audio from the new Blade Runner trailer over the top of it, and it is the most successfully imposing and like emotionally
Dystopic
real
shit,
feeling take on what all this stuff is. Because, the trailer has, or the Google video trailer has, a really nice combination of sort of long naturalistic shots of a person placing a thing down in the kitchen, and then it'll sort of just cut to like the 4 fun things you can do with it in rapid succession. But when there's the like the like underlying bass note, and then a person saying sort of ominous things about like control and surveillance and who is real and what is reality.
Yeah.
It ends up feeling like a glitched out sort of Clockwork Orange montage of like images being injected into an eye, or of like a rapid fire documentary of a culture in decline.
It's totally
very good.
It's totally the thing that we talked about earlier in some other episode of the show. I don't remember which one. It's totally the moment in the like future robot dystopia movie where they show the like montage of all of the seemingly innocent things we voluntarily introduced into our lives that
that was a really popular thing to do during the Cold War, to take like images of idyllic 1950s America and cross-cut it with crazy like Eastern Bloc military operations, cross-cut with the atomic bomb going off, and then having like happy newscasters with drone music underneath. But this was just like literally someone's advertisement with literally someone else's advertisement put over the top of it, and it was surprisingly potent and also hilarious. Like, it was just good work.
It's very good.
Yeah.
Yep.
So anyway, that's the experience of buying this little Vespa robot that rolls around and carries your groceries if you're an old person wearing a weird white belt.
Yeah. I think if this city gets to the point where there's like delivery robots rolling everywhere and people's trash robots falling everywhere, I think I'm just going to leave. At that point, I'm just going to have to go somewhere else.
There won't be any space for you. I mean,
you
won't actually. You won't be allowed on the street.
You'll actually
anyway.
say, "I don't have one of those robots." Wait, no! As just like
they carry you
20
off.
of them just carry you, throw you into the bay.
Trash disposed.
Right.
I thought you were going to say if the city actually gets to the point that it has old people that can afford these robots, that would imply that anyone stayed in San Francisco long enough to actually like age up to having senior citizen needs.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I just had a terrible realization, which is when the current generation of tech people become senior citizens, everything's going to be so fucking bad.
Oh, weird.
Oh, yeah.
They're like basically our generation of San Francisco style humans. That AARP is gonna suck.
Oh yeah.
People.
Yeah,
like,
it's interesting when you consider
within like 15 years of us in either direction, gonna make a bad group of like.
Yeah, I mean, do you think that's gonna be so? Like right now, one of the frequently made observations and frequent criticisms of tech culture is that it's amazing, like full brunt of modern technology brought to bear on the sort of trivial problems of 20 and 30 somethings.
Imagine when those are old people problems.
Yeah.
What about me, says a person who's been saying literally that for their entire career that made them a millionaire 15 times over. Oh, God.
Oh.
But yeah, then but will old people be wielding the cutting edge of modern technology to solve a bunch of annoying old people problems that no one else cares about? Oh man, when there's a generation of old people that understands computers,
but they won't understand the new computer. Like they'll want apps, but we'll have moved on to something else. You know what I mean? Like they'll be using like an iPhone,
an
iPhone 5
grandma,
or something. Yeah, exactly.
An app?
Yeah, they'll be like, I need the app. Oh,
it's like, okay, whatever. Grandma,
Grandma, just put the thing in your brain.
Exactly.
Right, just put it in your brain. I don't like things in my brain. Grandma.
I'll be there at Thanksgiving, and we can lay you down, and I can update your brain implant.
I'll inject the patch into your skull.
Yeah.
Grandma, it's fine.
It's fine. My head hurts.
Yeah, I know.
Just replace it. Just get a new head. What is the big deal? Everyone does it now.
Grandma's still using that app with her phone.
Yeah.
Everyone else has a cybernetic brain in a pod that follows them around.
All right. This is my Tuesday brain.
Gross.
Well, when that generation gets old, they won't.
Yeah, pretty much.
Either because they live forever because they have brains in little pods made by the Vespa scooter company, or because humanity as a species no longer exists. Either way, Grandma's gonna need her goddamn apps in a few decades. Get ready.
Man, I saw this thing that was so disturbing to me on the internet yesterday, which could basically apply to anything at this point.
Yeah,
But,
you just said the sentence.
are you guys familiar with CRISPR at all? Like the capital, like
the
acronym?
drawer in your refrigerator,
Yeah, it's like
where
the place where you put
vegetables?
a vegetable.
No.
By the way, what is that
It's
drawer
okay.
all about? What is it different about that
all right.
drawer than any
This is
other
an icy
drawer?
hot question that I would actually be interested in finding out. I have wondered the exact same
Yeah,
thing.
what the
hell
fuck is the deal with a CRISPR?
Okay.
Okay, here's how we know we're old. Every other podcast is talking about CRISPR, which is like this new scientific advancement that's going to solve like everything.
And Chris just like Seinfelded out about the fridge drawer.
What's the deal with the fridge drawer?
I have no interest
Dad,
in the
like,
CRISPR fridge drawer.
I do. I will endorse that
Okay.
question.
Jake, still in touch with his inner child, doesn't care about the CRISPR drawer. So fancy. Oh, you know all about the CRISPR drawer.
I care, but I'm more interested in what Nick was gonna say.
Why don't you just swap out your brain?
I think
What is that a thing that is not just a drawer in a refrigerator?
No. CRISPR is this new like gene editing therapy that scientists.
Jesus.
Yeah, it is essentially like the early promise of like Gattaca at this point. Like
My
I watched this
God.
video where this scientist who's like actively working on this stuff in a lab, and the concept of the video was. I'm going to explain CRISPR to 5 different people of 5 different education levels, starting with like an elementary school kid and moving up to somebody who's basically on his level. And so I was watching
How
this
old is
thing.
he?
He's
like a middle-aged person?
like 30, 35.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
He's a middle-aged expert, basically.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
it's,
He's just like a super, genius kind of like PhD, et cetera. And
he was the first CRISPR.
yeah, and I can't sit here and explain CRISPR at all. I'm sure there are people listening who know a lot
Even
more
after
about
watching
this,
him explain it to a 5-year-old, you can't explain it.
well,
What did he tell the 5-year-old?
it's essentially like,
But what is it basically?
So, I'm just going to read the Wikipedia thing because I have no confidence in myself to
Okay.
actually describe what this thing is.
I have confidence
It stands
in you,
for
Nick.
clustered, regularly interspaced, short palindromic repeats. And there is a genome editing technology known as CRISPR-Cas9 that allows permanent modification of genes within organisms. So basically, you can literally just swap out genes.
So like you can genetically modify things that are already.
Yes. So I'm watching this video, and it's like 20 minutes long, and I'm learning a lot. And they get to the end, and it's him talking to the other expert. Like basically, he's talking to an elementary school kid, and it's just, this is kind of what it is.
Yeah.
And she's like, "Oh, okay, so it's like when you like edit like a paper, like a school paper." He's like, "Yeah, so imagine, like taking out a paragraph and putting a new paragraph in, just basic concepts." And then he gets to the person that's basically on his level, and they just start talking about just what's happening right now and like how feasible is it that we could like literally just change your eye color. They're talking about like, oh, this could basically be a stepping stone to curing cancer and all these important things. But then they just start talking about, well, like eye color, like height,
chicken
all
face.
of these things are technically editable. So
Dinosaur chicken face.
And then they get to the very end and they're talking about like ethical implications, and they're just like, well, I wouldn't really worry about it too much.
What? That's the takeaway?
I'm not exaggerating at all. Like, these extremely smart scientists were just like, it's not really something we should worry about right now because it's probably a few years off. And, editing somebody's height, what's the big deal? And I'm like, oh my God, like, this is exactly what you would do in a movie. That where like the science, I'm just like Jeff Goldblum is just sitting thinking about
are there ethical concerns? Let's first be preoccupied with whether or not we could before we think about whether or not we should.
That's exactly what I said while I was watching this stupid thing, and I'm like, oh man, it's just happening. It's all happening right now. It's a bad Earth. Anyway, we should take a break.
We'll be back with new eye colors, and our heights will be randomly resorted.
This episode of Important If True is brought to you by Casper. Mattresses. Comfortable, affordable, mailed to your home in a compact container. Nick Brecken, you've got a Casper. How's it still treating you?
It's holding up.
Yeah?
It's as comfortable as it was the first day we had it.
Nice.
Yeah.
Wow.
You're several months in at this point.
Oh, yeah. 6 months. Probably.
Oh, wow. Okay, yeah. If you go to CasperTrial.com/thumbs and use the code that you'll see at the top of the page there, you can get $75 off when you buy a mattress and any other Casper product.
Well, that's a good deal.
I know. They have all sorts of stuff there. They've got all the bedding you need. They've got pillows. You could your entire sleep experience could be curated by Casper
Mm-hmm.
if you wanted to use a phrase that would make you like have to get punched in the face immediately after saying it.
Do the pillows come in like a very tiny box that they then spring out of?
Yeah, hopefully they come in like a jewelry box, like
Yeah,
a little
yeah.
Tiffany's box.
Uh-huh.
You open it and a mattress just
Or like one of those little
pillow, yeah.
tubes that a streamer flies out of, you know?
oh, like the
one of those
snakes,
little pop.
the snake,
Like a can of snakes.
like
yeah,
snakes.
Yeah, or yeah.
Hopefully, the delivery guy shoots them out of a T-shirt cannon, but then they fully
it's
explode into a
snakes.
king-size pillow
Right, full of
before it hits
snakes.
you in the face. But hopefully, a pillowcase full of snakes is shipped to you.
It is
Casper Day
it's
at the ballpark.
75 If you go to,
Oh, mattresses.
there's snakes in here.
Yeah.
If you go to CasperTrial.com/thumbs and use that code, you can get $75 off when you buy a mattress plus any other product.
Probably not a can of snakes, although they have the technology to make a real good one of those.
That's true. Fortunately,
But like also the softest, most comfortable snake you've ever slept on.
Yeah,
that ever killed you.
I think fortunately Nick can confirm that there are no snakes in these mattresses. There are no snakes in these
Sure, Chris.
mattresses. CasperTrial.com/thumbs. This episode of Important If True is also brought to you by Quip. Quip, very nice compact electric toothbrushes with brush head refill plans. So you can get those new bristles with those properly sort of plaque scraping bristles mailed to you on a 3-monthly rolling basis so that you always have a nice, good brush head.
Just rolling in there.
Clean those teeth. Just roll it right in. I'm right on the eve of my next brush head refill. I'm actually really excited about it. I'm like anticipating the delivery of my next brush head. So I'm going to snap it in there.
You've been like programmed now. You're just, you know.
Yeah.
You don't know why you feel anxious that day, but
No,
it's
I
because
do.
you're oh, okay.
It's because I want that brush head.
Yeah.
Yeah. Give me that brush head. Give me it.
Yeah.
If you go to tryquip.com/thumbs, you can get $10 off your first brush head refill. Those plans start at only $5, so that's a pretty good.
That's good.
Pretty good discount. Yeah. And I will report back once I get my next one, but I am excited about it. And you can get your own at tryquip.com/thumbs.
Nice.
All right, are we back?
Sure.
We have an email here from Jake.
What?
Jake of Wichita, Kansas.
Oh, okay. Hi, Jake. How's it going?
Jake writes, "Hi, Thumbs.
Hi, Jake.
I am a high school teacher and have been around teenagers for 5 years now." Oh, this is a follow-up on teenage tattoos from last week. So Jake continues, "While I'll never be able to tell you with ultimate authority how teenagers think, I can give some perspective on their current love of tattoos. Teenagers love tattoos. The idea of them, getting them, designing them, imagining what life would be like with a tattoo. Plans for tattoos. Some students have their next 5 years planned out based on tattoos. As someone who does not have a tattoo, nor a desire to have one, I had to start to respond to what I would get if I had to get a tattoo today. I've talked about this with students so much, the idea of getting a tattoo no longer completely disinterests me, but is now something I think, well, that wouldn't be the worst thing in the world. I'm afraid I'll fall into a Stockholm Syndrome and get a dancing Hobbes from Calvin and Hobbes on my forearm. Students' tattoo-making plans go from simple ones on their shoulders to full sleeves by the time they graduate high school. Only a few students actually end up getting tattoos before they graduate high school, with things like love written on their wrists. What students don't realize is the cost of these tattoos. When I bring it up, they always, quote, have a friend that will do it for them. One student who had a friend do it for him got FTW and FTP on his knuckles, standing for fuck the world and fuck the police in bad middle school handwriting.
Oh, yes. Oh, he got a BD Wong.
He got that
He
BD
totally
Wong.
got that BD Wong.
But
Well, he got one that's
Well,
more BD
yeah.
Wong, which is not to be outdone by those gems. He also got on his chest, no joke, Insane Clown Posse, misspelled as Insane Clown Puce. Thanks for the laughter. Great podcast, Jake, Wichita, Kansas.
oh, at least Insane Clown Puce is easily corrected. You just fill in the top of that O with your own handwriting, and then it will be close enough.
That's true, yeah.
Insane Clown Puce would be a good neural net color.
I'm painting my accent wall,
Right.
Insane Clown Puce.
Yeah.
FTW and FTP is amazing because of, what the person says that it means,
All right, fuck the world, fuck the police.
but also just for the win and file
And file
transfer protocol.
Yeah.
Yeah. My sleeve says HTTPS and has my full private encryption key.
Popular.tattoos.
I guess that BD Wong tattoo was what teens crave after all.
Yeah.
Just getting a crappy handwritten tattoo.
It's true. When this guy started saying, "I'm afraid I'll fall into a Stockholm syndrome and get a dancing Hobbes and Calvin Hobbes form," I sort of saw the sentence as I was reading it and thought he was going to say, "I'm afraid I will get a pissing Calvin somewhere else." And I just imagined what a horrible.
I'm afraid that my teenage students with whom I'm surrounded at all times will convince me to get a pissing Calvin on my arm.
Yeah. I mean, when the kid who got Insane Clown Puce, he corrects that to Insane Clown Posse once he gets old enough to understand his mistake. And then once he gets old enough to realize the total mistake, he gets a pissing Calvin pissing on Insane Clown Posse.
What an amazing evolution. Step 1, oh, that's not how posse is spelled. Step 2, oh, I have an Insane Clown Posse tattoo.
I also like the idea. I mean, it totally is BD Wong, but literally just write this on me.
Just write it.
Yeah.
Just write this on me permanently forever. There have to be pissing Calvin tattoos.
Oh,
I never thought to look that up, but that must be.
There are, I'm sure.
God, pissing Calvin is one of the worst. Pissing Calvin is like a total pre-internet meme.
Yeah.
Pissing Calvin is like
I never understood it.
What is there to understand?
There's nothing to understand, but even as a kid, it was very confusing to me.
Oh, yeah.
It's just a fiendish-looking child. I don't think that they care that it's from Calvin and Hobbes. It's just a way of expressing how much you hate Chevrolet or Ford or...
Right.
Yeah, that's definitely true.
Whatever.
Yeah. There was I read a whole, history of the peeing Calvin, actually, at one point. I hadn't been thinking about this at the time.
Please tell me it was an oral history.
There was basically, an oral history of the pissing Calvin. And I feel like it actually originated with a particular bootleg person who built up a whole empire of pissing Calvin shit.
It's interesting when people trace those things back to an individual human who did them. Do you remember when Guitar Hero was huge and the internet, social media of that era, which I feel like was slightly sort of proto-social media compared to what we have today, was just blanketed with advertisements for wacky Guitar Hero joke nerd shirts where you could get, there were accordion hero just whatever, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
The Edmund McMillan, who's the game designer who made The Binding of Isaac and Super Meat Boy, after he was really successful, confessed online that he was the person who did all the contract illustration work for all of the Guitar Hero parody shirts, to make Rent. Where he's
Amazing.
he's my life was miserable before Super Meat Boy took off, and I was he's that accordion hero bullshit. All me. I drew all of that art for no money.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
Buy my bootleg stickers of Pissing Calvin pissing on Accordion Hero to really stick it to those nerds. Shall we do another email here?
Yeah.
Shumple Stiltskins on Twitter asks, when is Hoistmas? Which I feel like is an interesting question. Is Hoistmas a holiday?
Well, yeah.
Or
what would it be if it wasn't?
Oh no, I mean, is it a specific day?
Oh, I see. Marking something.
Yeah, is there a day that you can? Is there a day that is universally could be declared as Hoistmas?
April Fool's is Hoistmas in that Hoistmas is a day when we all celebrate something stupid we have done to ourselves collectively.
Yeah.
So I feel like April Fool's is a definite qualifier for Hoistmas.
Yeah.
I mean, I imagine. Is if you were to celebrate Hoistmas as a collective day, would you all be celebrating the day that we were all hoisted, or is it a day that you all celebrate your individual hoistings?
What I mean.
It's a day of remembrance.
Right. Yeah.
Of in the last year, when were you hoisted? Let's take a time back and reflect, and hopefully.
Oh, I see. So it's almost like Thanksgiving, but you're sort of,
Yeah, but it's Hoistmas.
Yeah.
I mean, Thanksgiving definitely when I get fucking hoisted every year. Just in general, going home for Thanksgiving for me is Hoistmas to the max.
Yeah.
I could just declare Thanksgiving perpetual Hoistmas, as far as I'm concerned. I mean, we're definitely living in Hoistmas right now. That fucking CRISPR shit. What? Like that is just
Chris,
that is a
there is no way anyone will be hoisted by this, quote, CRISPR inventor,
yeah.
hoisted.
We'll think about the hoisting implications later.
There is no way this will turn people into multiple castes of superhumans and decrepit people whose resources were stolen from them by way of their genetics literally being modified to turn them into a servant caste.
Jesus.
Lord Hoistmas.
Is Lord Hoistmas the Santa Claus of Hoistmas?
Yeah,
Lord
I think
Hoistmas.
so.
Let him into your house. You don't really have to do anything. He's
God, he kicks down the door, fucks up your house, and says, "Hoisted!" And then he's out of there after stealing your pod robot.
Well, no, I think the night before Hoistmas, you have to put a petard under your pillow, and then Lord Hoistmas comes.
He just sets it off. He just fucking blows up your face. It says "hoisted."
No, he just watches you get hoisted.
Yeah, he just watches.
He comes in and says, Did you put the petard on it? Yes, I did. Okay, explode it. I'm waiting.
I don't even think that's what he says. I feel like what Lord Hoistmas would have to basically be a super malicious Macaulay Culkin from Home Alone who busts into your house and by whatever means you've made to prevent Lord Hoistmas from fucking you up, you get fucked by it.
Right.
Every time. He's just like a horrible
God, I fucking hate this holiday. Yeah. I'm putting 18 locks on my doors.
He's like a weird bad luck / entropy spirit who by whatever means you do to prevent getting hoisted, you will be hoisted by those means, guaranteed, when he visits your house. He's like a Final Destination ghost.
Yeah, he is, yes.
But it's not, you don't necessarily get killed. It's just like, oh, God, you're just like a pudding lands on you, or all of your important appointments for the next week get canceled because you delete them from your calendar by way of trying
to try to lock down your computer.
Yeah, you're and then
you turn off your main circuit breaker so that he can't electrocute.
Right, but your files are erased somehow,
right,
hard drive.
And then your carbon monoxide alarm doesn't go off.
So you die. Jeez, but yeah. And then
what a great holiday.
Sorry, that was dark.
Yeah, but he just says hoisted and then sort of just jingles away. He still has the jingle bells. He kept those from Santa Claus just to really twist the knife.
Yeah. He doesn't really have to do anything. He just walks in and declares your inevitable
and
hoisting.
You're like, God, he's here. Ugh. And then he hoisted. And he walks away.
Does this just happen to everybody?
Yeah.
Everybody has their own Lord.
The worldwide day where everyone just.
What was his name? Lord Hoistmas knows if you've been naughty or nice and doesn't give a fuck. He'll visit you and hoist you all the same.
Yeah.
You don't need to celebrate Hoistmas because you're celebrating it right now.
Yeah, Hoistmas celebrates you for sure.
Yeah, the word hoist has slowly drifted into the same. I mean, since it's so similar to the word moist, my brain now is starting to we got to end every episode
Hoist
by taking a thing that you love, Chris, and ruining it. So whenever you think hoist, think moist.
TM registered.
Yeah.
Hoist USA.
7,000 Goodreads.
7,000 Goodreads have highlighted this phrase, moist quote. USA.
What?
They made the Bay Bridge.
True.
4 million Goodreads readers have highlighted this passage, get hoisted. I wonder if that means that you could control what text displays in Amazon stores. If you're like, Jesus, 200 million Goodreads accounts outlined this. Fuck you. Oh, do we have to put that in our store now? Certified purchaser.
Yeah.
We have another question here from James Noble, who says, would you rather live in a world with no pizza or in a world where every pizza is the best pizza you've ever tasted, but every time you open the box, a small swarm of bees appears? You forget. Okay, this is the fucking crucial part.
Okay.
You forget about the bees in between pizzas, only remembering again at the moment you open the box and see the bees.
That's a fucking outrageous
That's an
question.
Incredible question.
The extra rule about having to forget about
the forgetting part is incredible.
That really makes it a difficult question.
Well, I wonder though, because my arc when this question was being proposed was, the world kind of has a bee shortage right now, so maybe I'd be happy about it. And then when it was like, oh geez, but I'd forget about the bees every time, I realized maybe I would be happy that the world has a bee shortage and these bees that keep getting summoned out of this pizza box. Like I had freshly experienced.
You're helping. You're helping.
Yeah.
These bees are helping. I'm helping. What
You
if
think you could memento it? And at the time they come out, be like, fuck, write it down. Like it's quick. Like don't forget. There's going to be bees in the pizza box. There's going to be bees in the pizza box. Don't forget. But I think we have to assume that
Bees
part of
in
the
pizza box.
part of the premise of the question is probably that as soon as you're like supposed to forget, according to the laws of this universe, that stuff you wrote down makes no sense to you.
Yeah, it has
Like,
to.
what the
We're
fuck
like,
does
for the
that
purpose
mean?
of this question
Bees in
is
the
full of
pizza
bees.
box.
Every pizza I have is better than the one I had before it, so I gotta eat this pizza. I don't know
Right.
what this says about bees
But
on
I
my
wonder,
chest.
I wonder if you could get around this property of the world by, instead of saying like there's bees in the pizza box, instead write notes convincing yourself to become a beekeeper, right? Totally independent of the pizza.
That wouldn't change the answer to this question at
Yes,
all.
it would.
Just because you're a beekeeper doesn't mean that like a swarm of bees in your house is like a good thing.
No,
No
you-
way.
no,
You'd be
but
like,
you'd be
I'll put them to
prepared.
sleep with my tools immediately.
Yeah,
you know how to
you'd
deal with them.
You'd be prepared. You would at least be the kind of person who, when you are come face to face with a swarm of bees, you might have the resources in
Yeah.
your brain and in your home to deal with it. Like Landis had, our hairdresser Landis, who
Peddler of lies.
hoister extraordinaire, who told us the poop story by way of Nick telling her the poop story. Do you remember her crazy roommate who she talks about?
Yeah.
Who was a beekeeper who kept
Yeah.
bees on the roof of their apartment?
Mm-hmm.
Like you can do that.
Yeah.
So if you could somehow
Your plan is false.
why?
If you see the bees and it's always presented as an anomaly, you won't ever detect a pattern and write it down. Memento is the premise of that is that there's
Yeah.
always a little scratch in the back of their mind because like the groove gets worn down. I feel like this premise is the groove does not get worn down at all.
Yeah.
You would so you wouldn't be like, I've got to leave myself a message because you just be like, bees, and then like, well, I got this pizza. And then the next time it would literally be bees. You wouldn't be like, I feel like, why are there all these dead bees around? Is it because every time I open a pizza there's bees?
No, you
So
can't skirt the question.
here's-
You got to take it seriously.
Well, fine. So let's
Take it seriously, Chris.
Okay, well, let's take the question seriously then. Fucking turn off that alarm.
No.
Let's take this
No.
question seriously. Is it the case that every single pizza in the world is both the best pizza ever and also has bees in it?
No.
Yes.
Well,
That you
No,
get.
it's
at
that
least.
you get.
Oh, that you get. So this
Other
is
people don't get bees. Somehow it's just you with the bees.
okay, because that really makes a big difference.
Also, it's a pizza box, right?
Yeah.
What happens if you go to a restaurant and they deliver you
And
a
they
pizza on a pedestal and it can't contain bees?
Yeah, there might be some workarounds for this. Could
There
you
are
get other
workarounds
people
for that
to
legitimately
order
because
pizza
you
and
can't.
then
What
invite-
they're going to just be like
invite
a,
you
I
over?
feel like you guys were like, we got to take this question head on, and then immediately
Well, I didn't
started
thought about that.
ignoring
All
the
right,
letter
all
of
right,
the
I'm
question.
going to answer the question
No,
for
no,
myself,
no,
and I'm going to
no.
say I would say get rid of pizza then. I don't want bees in my
Yeah,
house.
I think I would have to
also,
say that as well.
The surprise of the bees, I just knowing that there were bees crawling all over my food, I'm not going to eat that
Yeah,
pizza.
that's true. You're not
so
gonna enjoy
just
the
fuck
pizza.
it. Like, fuck pizza then. Like,
that's-
thanks a lot. You ruined pizza.
I feel like I would trap myself by this question because of the curiosity
Okay, wait,
of
hold on,
what
hold on,
world
hold on.
a world would be like.
I have to
Oh, I
clarify,
see.
Nick. I have to clarify something. It's not that. Literally, if you read the question literally, it isn't that there are bees in the box. He says every time you open the box, a small swarm of bees appears.
What? So just magically they just like apparate?
Well, I
like
think
what?
we have to-
What are you? As opposed to an intricate system with a
I
J.J.
just mean
Abrams-esque conspiracy
Well, no,
where a
no,
man is
no, I
tracking my pizzas and planting bees in them?
Well, no, I mean
That's implausible, but the appearing...
in one, at least it's not breaking the laws of physics. I'm saying in this,
Okay, wait a minute. No. This is already saying the pizza is objectively always better than the one you had before it.
that's possible.
No, it
it's
is not.
That's a
Well,
subjective reality. That's totally possible.
it's totally possible.
Ah.
It's unlikely.
I feel like
however
the
possible.
the complexity of this construct, especially the enticing part where the pizza is the best one I've had every time, would make it so hard for me to resist saying yes to this just because, okay.
but we don't live in that reality yet. So the
Right,
value of pizza
hold on,
doesn't actually
hold
affect
on.
what you're
It
thinking.
specifies that I would not remember the bees, but it does not specify that I would forget that the pizza was better than the one I had before it. So I would, You would definitely.
You would always open it.
Oh, you would eat every
always
pizza.
be ordering pizza.
You would be having the most transcendent, amazing sensory experiences because 30 pizzas into this, you're already so far off the charts of any pizza you're ever going to eat in your life.
Here's the thing. Nobody would trust your opinions about pizza either. Because presumably this applies to you. So you're telling people
You're
like,
oh, this pizza's so good.
Holy shit, North Beach Pizza down the street. I know that the Yelp is like 2.5 out of 5.
Meanwhile,
I swear to God, it's in fucking...
don't listen to him. He's always got like
That's the
1,000
guy with
bees in his apartment. Just
He's always
give
covered
up.
with bee stings.
Yeah.
Okay, here's a question. Does the person, like if you live with someone, like would my wife observe, like would...
Right, that's what I was wondering too. Would a person near you be like, don't eat that pizza, you always get stung by bees, and you're like, no I don't. Oh God!
Yeah.
Oh
What
God!
do you mean? Why would I get stung by
Then you're
bees?
like, let's get a pizza tonight. No, we're not going to get pizza. But you're like,
absolutely.
no, I love pizza. It's like, it tastes better than anything by like 4,000 million %. It's like, no, you can't get it because a bee will sting you.
No, but
you're
but
like,
then,
no, it won't.
Well, but
I'm
in
just
this
gonna get it at
universe,
lunch tomorrow.
I don't even know. Like, if you heard that, I think we have to go with the idea that this person is not in. Like, they are not. There would have to be some editing done where if somebody tried to tell you what was going to happen,
You'd hear
literally just like it just could turn into like a weird Twin Peaks scene every time you try and open a pizza. No, don't do it. Yeah.
You're covered in bee stings. You still have bee stings from
Right.
the last time you ordered pizza.
I love pizza. Give me more pizza.
So good.
Pizza.
I kind of like the idea, though, that they just appear. Like, not that they literally appear out of nothing, but that they just come in through the window, or they come,
I see.
like
Yeah,
through your
yeah.
air vent or something. Like, they just, through whatever means,
Yeah.
a swarm of bees enters your home.
Where sort of just like those bees are like frustrum culled from a
Right.
and then they don't exist until you
Right.
sort of observe them in your view cone.
That starts to then sort of introduce a weird reverse butterfly effect, where you live in a universe in which, as pizza is delivered to you...
Oh, right. You
like,
open the pizza,
is the
time has
culmination-
backported all of the information needed to get those bees
like
in your
this
house.
bee swarm
Right.
migration was like taken off. I mean, that was probably not a thing, but like, whatever, some beekeeping truck like
A
fell
bee
over.
flapped its wings on another continent that made a bee be in your house.
Yeah. There's forced bee migration. There's an entire industry of trucks that drives cross country with like millions of bees
pizzas.
so that they can
Right.
pollinate.
Yeah, no, yeah.
Yeah, it's fucked
I'm
up.
distracted right now by the concept of a YouTube series, which is every time Nick Brecken opens a pizza, the trailer for Bee Movie plays, and he is attacked by bees.
Oh.
Please, nobody send me a pizza with bees in it. I really wouldn't like that.
Oh, we got our latest candy delivery from David.
Yeah, no, please.
It's all
Please, no.
pizza and
Oh my
bees.
God. Oh,
Pizza and Bees
no.
is also my new San Francisco high concept
Have you
restaurant.
seen that? Have you seen that Linklater movie yet?
I think we answered that question.
Yeah, I think
somehow.
the answer's no.
I think I would eat the pizza.
Oh, Jake would get the
So it's
pizza.
a
It's
2-1.
two passes and one definitely give me that pizza and bees.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. Shall we do some endorsements?
Let's do it.
All right, I will start it off because I have basically spent weeks dreading endorsements so one of the things we often do when we're figuring out what we're going to endorse is we go back and sort of like each of us will sort of review like, oh, what have I like bought recently? Is it something that I'm like excited about, that I want to recommend? Is there like something I've watched recently? What is my internet browsing history like? Is there something right? I mean, like, is there like some cool YouTube video I can recommend? Whatever. I swear to God, endorsements have been painful for me for the last month because I am getting totally psyched out about the version of myself that is being created on the podcast, which is just like
Mr. Shoehorn?
Mr. Shoehorn, just like recommending sort of old man things.
Sure.
And it's starting to like make me go crazy because when I go through this exercise of like going through my order history and like what is it that I've been sort of reading about and interested in recently, it confirms all of those like stereotypes about me to such a degree that I've been like doing everything I can to come up with other things.
I've been listening to like a lot of hip hop.
I'm still cool.
No, it's not that it's not. No, it is not.
It's not you trying to help Good Day Fellow Kids or whatever?
No, it's absolutely not. The reason, no, I don't give a shit. Like, people can think I'm an old man, whatever.
We all are.
Yeah, I know. It's fine. It's because I started to worry that people would think I was intentionally finding things, old man things, like in order to play into a gag, like in order to sort of foster a like goof. But it's absolutely not the case, and I'm just giving up right now and saying I'm going to endorse learning about proper shoe care for like maintaining and prolonging the life of your decent leather shoes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like a fun kind of like, it's a nice thing. There's something nice about being able to say, okay, I have this nice pair of shoes that I want to last me a long time, so I don't have to replace them like every year or whatever. And so you get your like saddle soap to clean them off. You get your sort of renovating cream to like retreat the oil. You get your cream polish or your wax polish, depending on whether you like the more matte finish or the more glossy finish. And like it's just a whole process you go through, and like you can take good care of your leather shoes, and they will last you a lot longer. And I was like reading a bunch about it and learning about it, and I got the stuff, and it's sort of just a nice relaxing thing you can do on a weekend. And I'm gonna endorse fucking embracing that bullshit if you're the kind of person who thinks you might be into it. Oh, so I'll link some of that shoe care crap in the comments for the 0% of people who give a shit.
There's people who are secretly really stoked to hear that this is a thing they can do with their lives.
There's at least someone.
And there's other people who are going.
Yeah, I know. Most people are doing that. That's okay. Nick, what do you endorse?
I'm endorsing a TV show I think that you guys have seen called Garth Marenghi's Dark Place.
Oh, yeah, that's great.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Wait, have you not seen that?
Oh, I have.
Okay,
yeah. It's great. It's got...
that was on Adult Swim for a while, I think.
Oh, okay.
Well, yeah. It was
you can watch it on Hulu and stuff now.
You can watch it on Hulu
now.
On
Amazon, I'm sure.
But it's Richard Ayoade and Matt Berry and all those guys from, I guess, like Brass Eye and sort of that sort of era of like British comedy. And
I think it's from a slightly later era, but like that similar crew.
Yeah, that's what he means.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Okay,
it's like it's just that. Yeah, that sort of like super crew of people. And it's about, I guess, it's a parody of like bad 80s science fiction, and it's about an author, like a Stephen King-esque author who is just completely full of himself, and like the show that they made out of his books, and it's just fantastic.
It's crazy that show is itself now like over a decade old, I think.
Oh, it's older than that, I think.
It's like early 2000s, early mid 2000s.
Was it?
That show fetishizes like VHS and SD too much to not be from...
Yeah, maybe.
But
2004.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's a good show.
It's really, really good. And I don't think a lot of people have seen it, and they should.
Yeah. In our tradition of being old people, what I'm going to endorse in the most generic sense is learn more about all of the stupid garbage you have plugged into everything in your house. Specifically, the video things. So this is okay. I imagine that many people at this point have either a smart TV or a Chromecast or an Apple TV or a Roku. And then they also have about 4 million other regular computers plugged into their house. I guess I just had stopped paying attention for many years because the way that your television or streaming device interoperates with your computer was for a while baroque or non-functional.
Yeah.
But I've finally now realized that like with Windows 10, you can basically just send any video file to any of those devices in your house, and it's the most magical discovery that made me feel like an old person who had not bothered to know about that. I just had a piece of video from something that someone was working on at work, and I was like, I wonder what that would look like on a TV, like to sort of feel like what would it appear to be like were I playing this as an actual video game on a television. And then I dismissed that thought, and then a day later I was right-clicking on a video to delete it and saw that just in the contextual menu there was a thing that just said send it to your Samsung TV, and I was like,
wow, it just found it on the network?
Yeah, and that made me feel so old and dumb, because I know like Apple has been plugging AirPlay as like their sort of proprietary way to mix and manage iTunes versus whatever. I didn't entirely understand that had been genericized enough that like my TV showed up, and then as I was looking, my Roku also showed up, and I was like, what? I can just... And I felt so old, but also I'm so happy that technology is reasonably standardized enough that it's just like in a generic contextual menu in Windows 10.
Yep.
Crazy.
Yeah. I know Microsoft was pushing that stuff when they were trying to have like Windows Media Center and all that other crap in like Windows 7 and even late versions of Windows XP.
That was definitely the brittle version.
And it never gelled, but like secretly, I guess it's just been made good when I wasn't paying attention. So I recommend learning about the interoperability of your multimedia devices in your home, because your house probably does like all of your...
You probably live in a smart house.
Your stupid tech probably does more stuff than you think in a way that you don't have to reject because it being the gross sign up for a million services. Like I can just... The fact that I can mindlessly stream an MP4 file off my PC without having to engage in Windows Media Center or Plex or subscribe to someone else's go-between was surprising to me.
So Jake's endorsement is to engage with the synergy of your connected Internet of Things.
Yeah, embrace the smart house.
Yeah.
Embrace the Internet of Things.
Yeah.
Just do it.
All right. Well, that's that. Thank you for listening to this episode of Important If True. Our website is importantiftrue.com, and there you can find just all the places to find us elsewhere on the internet. You can send us mail at questions@importantiftrue.com. And if you're interested in an ad-free version of this podcast, you can get that by going to patreon.com/idlethumbs and pledging for the tier that offers that. You'll see it on the page there, and you'll get your own RSS feed with ad-free versions of this podcast every week.
Before we get to the end of this podcast, I would like to propose a hypothetical question for you, Chris.
Okay.
You could live in a world where the phrase "stay spicy" had never entered your vocabulary, or every time you say "stay spicy," you are beset by bees but you forget that the bees exist.
Right.
Fuck this. You're in that world now. You can never say "stay spicy" again because it either doesn't exist or you'll be attacked by bees.
Thank you for listening to Important If True. We'll be back next week. For Idle Thumbs, I am Chris Remo.
I'm Nick Brecken.
I'm Jake Rodkin.
Stay spicy.
Okay, we're off the clock. What the fuck was your dream? What the fuck was that dream?
All right.
Give me that dream.
I don't think it's possible to actually put this on the podcast.
That's fine. I just want to hear it. I just want to hear it.
So it was a dream where I was actually one of Donald Trump's grandchildren.
Oh, God.
And I was in like a fancy condo of some kind. But my grandpa was like a sort of like domineering businessman, like who started his own business and made millions of dollars and then like lost it, and it was this whole family drama thing. So there's that.
So Trump as grandpa analogy.
Well, okay, so I had this dream where I'm Donald Trump's grandkid.
Was he
and
still president?
Yes. And I was literally like, we were in like a family gathering of some kind, and I was shouting at him saying, if you had courage, you would resign. And he was just sort of like, oh, I'm not, just sort of, blah, what do you know, kid? And I was like, no. I was like screaming in his face, like, no, you have to resign. What are you doing? And he was like, I'm going to go to bed. And so he goes to bed, and I conspired with one of the other grandkids to like poison him.
Oh, my God.
And so we went into his bedroom and like injected him with something, and he like woke up like, oh, I'm poisoned. Oh, what's going on? I don't know what's happening. And at that point, for some reason, he had like a cup of wine or some kind of like cognac or something in his hands, and he was like dazed from this like injection. He stumbled forward into a candle, and the alcohol lit on fire, and then his face started melting. And his face melted off to the point where my grandfather's face was revealed to be underneath Donald Trump's face.
Oh, shit.
Oh, no.
And then I woke up.
Oh, my God. You had a fucking Vader in the forest situation.
I had a perfect... Like a perfect metaphorical dream.
Yeah, you had like an Alfred Hitchcock.
The way that you would like make it in a movie, it was just literally a dream that I had.
Wow.
And I woke up and remembered every detail, and it was like, it haunted me for like days.
Yeah.
It was bizarre.
Holy crap.
That's fucked up.
It was super fucked.
As his face was melting, he said, I cannot sanction your buffoonery.
Anyway.